So David, the Premier League starts this weekend. What are your thoughts on Joe Hart?
Joe Hart, wow. Well, I'm pleased for him to obviously get a new club in the Premier League. Didn't realise, because I was there when he signed. I literally left the same month that he signed for Manchester City back in 2006. 12 years ago now, which is a long time ago. And then I thought he was a quality young prospect. He's proved himself to be a quality goalkeeper. And I think, unfortunately for him, because of the transition at Manchester City, he was, I wouldn't say treated badly. I'm not sure that's the right way, because I'm not there and I don't know what happened. But I think the fact that he did some pre-season games for Man City this year, but was told that he wasn't going to be involved, made it very difficult. However, he performed well enough during pre-season to justify his move to Burnley. And the Burnley thing's completely interesting as well, because you've got Pope, Joe Hart and Tom Heaton there, three goalkeepers who have represented England. Joe Hart was the number one before Pickford's taken over recently. So there'll be a nice contest there. Unfortunately, I think as an England fan, you would want three English goalkeepers at three different clubs to challenge for first team Premier League positions. But no, I think clean sheet today. I think Joe Hart is in a good place right now. Mainly because he's sort of lost or left Manchester City permanently now, rather than just being loaned out for a couple of years, which is not something I've experienced myself, but I can imagine is very frustrating.
So do you think, apparently the fee was around 3.5 million, do you think that's a good deal? Do you think maybe they should have paid a bit more?
No, I mean, Manchester City had publicly stated they didn't want him to play for them this year. His contract was running out. In the world of transfer fees, it's almost negligible in one sense. But I think what Burnley have got is a terrific goalkeeper, terrific athlete, professional, and as I say, with the contest between him, Pope, and Heaton, there's a great competition there for the number one to be at his best. And if Joe Hart, who happens to be a friend of mine, wins that competition, which it seems he's already in charge of with his game in the Europa League, it's a bargain at £3.5 million.
And Chelsea have just signed goalkeeper for 71.6 million, Kepa. What are your thoughts on him?
Well, I didn't know a lot about him, and I'd imagine, other than the staunch La Liga supporters or followers in England, there'll be a lot of people raising an eyebrow at that signing. But my understanding is that the actual transfer fee is spread over a number of years rather than just a £71 million upfront payment. From what I've seen of him, and I have done a little bit of research on him since the signing, I think they got a better goalkeeper than Courtois. He's young, he's dynamic, he's athletic, he's exciting, and with a number of keepers that have come in the last couple of seasons, high level keepers. I reckon he. I think the argument is always whether he's worth the money, but I think he's 23 years old. 23 years at Chelsea, he could have 10 plus years there easily. What I've seen of him, what he was doing for Atletico Bilbao, this lad could be good.
So Chelsea's first Premier League fixture is away against Huddersfield. Do you think that's a perfect fixture just to ease your way into the league?
For Chelsea or for Kepa?
Both.
I think. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing for Chelsea is obviously they're looking at winning the Premier League with Kepa in goal. I think Courtois had a fantastic World Cup. He had a pretty decent season for Chelsea, but I think you've got a 23-year-old. As I say, what I'm seeing, and he looks. Yeah, it's exciting. I'm actually excited. As I say, I didn't know a lot about him. I've got my own concerns, sort of other than the Premier League with managing in India. But having seen a lot of clips of him and what he's capable of, this is a keeper who could really do something well. First game against Huddersfield, I mean, without clichéing it too much, any team is capable of winning games, and I think that there's always going to be a challenge against anyone. However, I think he'll be excited, and to go to a club the size of Chelsea, with Chelsea's expectations, I mean, Bilbao were never expected to win anything, whereas Chelsea are always expected to win something. So it'll be interesting to see with the capabilities that he's got, the future that he could have, whether the pressure becomes an issue.
And another team to spend on goalkeepers, Liverpool, 65 million on Alisson. What are your thoughts on that?
Alisson, I was surprised. Not because of him, and even with Kepa. I mean, one thing with Kepa, and I have to go back to it, is that at 23 years old, you're talking about someone slightly unknown, or lesser known, shall I say, but with tremendous potential, and from what I've seen, tremendous capabilities already. Alisson, for Liverpool, was a surprise because I know he's done well. He had a decent World Cup, but more about Liverpool saying that the Karius was going to be the number one, and all of a sudden he's not going to be the number one. I think Alisson will do well. He's a different keeper to the likes of Kepa, to the likes of Ederson from last season, who in his transfer was a record signing as well. So I mean, in two transfer windows, essentially the record's been broken 3 times. But I think Alisson in Liverpool team, there'll be different demands on him than what Kepa will have at Chelsea. I think he'll do well, but I think Liverpool have spent a lot of money this summer, obviously coming so close with numerous competitions in the last couple of years. The feeling there is that the goalkeeper is going to make the difference. We shall see.
And what do you think the season holds for England number 1, Jordan Pickford?
Jordan Pickford, again, another keeper, had a tremendously good World Cup. Interesting to see what happens with Everton. I know they've made some late signings in the transfer window, but again, it's all about expectation. I think when Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester City, the aforementioned Premier League sides, they all expect to be in the chase for winning the Premier League, if not winning something else. I think with Everton, it's always a case of just trying to qualify for some sort of European qualification. I'm not saying that because I'm a Liverpool man, but I think if Jordan can continue the form that he had from last season, expand on what he did in the World Cup, then he'll be in a very good place. He's a very capable goalkeeper. Maybe now with these 2 recent goalkeeping transfers in the Premier League, the focus won't be so much on him as the most expensive, so it should be good for him.
And going back to Chelsea and Courtois, do you think that this move will help his career, or do you think he was better off at Chelsea?
He's moved to Real Madrid. I can't see a downside on that, and as much as they've won the Champions League 3 years in a row, it'll be a tough ask to expect, or a tough expectation for them to win it 4 years in a row. But he's joining one of the biggest clubs in the world. A lot of speculation over the last 3 or 4 years about David De Gea joining there. For some reason that didn't happen, and at 35 million, I believe the report was that he'd been sold for. I'm surprised why De Gea didn't go there. Well, I say I'm surprised. I felt that Keylor Navas was a more than capable goalkeeper, and therefore the need wasn't to replace him. Whether or not Navas's form for Real Madrid last season has prompted this move, but Courtois is, he's a very talented goalkeeper, obviously. But this is a guy that is used to winning stuff, and if you look at his history, from a young age, back in Belgium, he was winning competitions, winning the Belgian league, winning cup competitions, and he expects to win. That's what he is, a winner. So I think he's done the right thing, and given himself an opportunity to play, as I say, for one of the, if not biggest clubs in the world.
With Kepa being signed for a world record fee of 71 million, how much do you think De Gea's worth?
Good question. Probably more than 35 million. Otherwise, you would have expected Real Madrid to have signed him. I think, and it's interesting again when you look at the World Cup, how much influence that has on transfers. Courtois had a very good World Cup and has left Chelsea to go to Real Madrid. De Gea didn't have as good a World Cup, I think it's fair to say. Maybe he's happy in Manchester now. I don't know these things, but what's his value? Well, no one's paid 71 million for him, so either he's worth more than 71 million or
less.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, I don't know what the price tag Manchester United would put on him, but I think the actual pool of clubs available to sign him is limited, and the need is also limited in that sense because of the transfer fee. I think he's a wonderful goalkeeper, but again, you look at the World Cup, and then I think if I'm being blunt, if you're going to be the best, then you perform at the best at the time when you need it, and Courtois was very, very good.
And what's your predictions for this season? Who do you think is going to win the Premier League?
Yeah, other than Manchester City, I think Pep Guardiola has produced a side which is scarily good. Watching them last season, there was football being played, which was I wouldn't say revolutionary. It was like watching some of the Spanish football when Pep was at Barcelona. It was like watching some of the Bayern Munich football when he was there in Germany. So anyone who can get anywhere near Manchester City this season, I would consider them having a good season. Whether anyone's good enough to beat them, well, I think there's two goalkeepers who are going to put a challenge in for their sides, but I think Manchester City are still far and far favourites.
And do you think Manchester City can compete in the Champions League?
Well, I think that is the holy grail now. I mean, they've dominated the Premier League. I know, albeit one season, but with Pep they dominated it last season. The investments they've made would have been firstly to win the Premier League, but definitely to challenge for the Champions League. Wouldn't be surprised to see Courtois having to face Manchester City in the Champions League, when possibly in the latter stages. But yeah, Manchester City. I think if I was a Manchester City player at the moment, I'd be buzzing because I'd be looking at every trophy as a possibility or even a probability of either winning or being in the final to challenge for it.
Okay, thank you.